Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we review Houston Rockets video. I already posted a trade recap video on the main channel if you guys want to go check that out. But essentially, I just kind of want to talk about it a little bit more. I actually really like Dennis Schroeder on the Houston Rockets, and you know, I understand that it kind of complicates things with guys like Josh Christopher and Daishen Nix. But if we're being honest here, if we're being real, Stephen Silas was never going to play Daishen Nix like legitimate minutes. I mean, he was never going to play Josh Christopher's starting minutes. Like, these are just things that I think we have to accept at this point. I don't anticipate Stephen Silas being the head coach of the Houston Rockets past this season. I don't think he's done, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he's done a single thing to show me that he is a qualified NBA head coach. I feel like that's a little rude, but I feel like it's true. The Houston Rockets as a roster in whole, they're not bad. And trading for Dennis Schroeder, getting rid of Daniel Theis, I really like the move. And it puts the Rockets kind of in like a nice situation where if you like what Dennis Schroeder brings you for the rest of the season, you can go ahead, re-sign him on a contract, maybe like a cheap or a short contract. Dennis Schroeder, still very young. He's a high-energy player. The Rockets are a very fast-paced basketball team, and Dennis Schroeder is a very fast-paced basketball player. He plays really solid defense. I like Dennis Schroeder. I really like Dennis Schroeder. I'm still kind of shocked Schroeder's on the Rockets. Until he plays like an actual game for us, I kind of like refusing to believe it. When it actually happens, like if in our next game, Dennis Schroeder's playing for us off of the bench, plays like 20 minutes or whatever, I'll be really excited. Man. I really like what Dennis Schroeder kind of brings to the team. I don't want to get into, in today's video, I don't want to get into Eric Gordon. I don't want to get into Christian Wood. I don't want to get into John Wall. If you guys want to see me rant about the Houston Rockets trade deadline, go ahead, check the main channel, Will Upton. But I like Dennis Schroeder. You know, I actually do. Because here's the thing. I think if you have, so first off, I pray to God Eric Gordon's coming off the bench for the rest of the season, but I have a feeling he's not. If you have our starting lineup right now, KPJ, Jalen Green, Jae'Sean Tate, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, and then you have a bench consisting of Dennis Schroeder, you've got Garrison Matthews, you have Alperen Sengun, you have KJ, you have Josh Christopher. If the Houston Rockets for the remainder of the season suck, and it just like is blatantly clear that they suck, I want Stephen Silas gone immediately. I want him gone immediately. Silas is coming off of, so first off, you know, some quick background. Silas came to the Rockets to play with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, PJ Tucker, Christian Wood. That's who he came here to coach. So I'm not here to try and rant or shit on Stephen Silas. But what I am here to say is 17 wins last season, even when you're rebuilding, I think that's shit. I think that's absolute dog shit. You had James Harden. I know James Harden wasn't here for long. You had James Harden. I know PJ Tucker wasn't here for the whole season. He was here for long enough. You had Eric Gordon. You had Christian Wood. You got KPJ later on in the season. You had Victor Oladipo. You had a coherent basketball team to not lose 20-plus straight games. You had a coherent basketball unit to not win more than 17 basketball games. What do? They win 17 basketball games. This year, we're 15-40. 15-40. When you look at the Houston Rockets roster, I don't think it's that bad. I really do not think it's that bad. Our defense is clearly an issue, but to me, I don't think it's more of a, I don't think it's that much of a personnel issue. I really don't think it's that much of a personnel issue. Jalen Green plays solid on-ball defense right now. KPJ can hold his own. Jae'Sean Tate's a stud on defense. Christian Wood can definitely use some work, but it's not like he's giving up 30-pointers every single game. Eric Gordon, defensively, solid. Sengun, defensively, he's okay. Josh Christopher, defensively, he's a stud. DJ Augustin, defensively, was perfectly okay. KJ Martin, defensively, perfectly okay. So that's the reason I don't mind trading for Dennis Schroeder. Because you put a little bit more talent on this Houston Rockets roster. Let's see what Stephen Silas is made of. You know, let's see what Stephen Silas is made of. And I know that's not what every Rocket fans want to hear, but a lot of Rocket fans do want to hear that. Like I said, man, I do not believe Stephen Silas is the coach of the future. In fact, if he was with us for next season, I have a hard time anticipating I'll be okay with that. I don't think I'll be okay with Stephen Silas being the head coach of the Houston Rockets next season. I think if anything, Silas, if he's quote-unquote deserving of a head coach position, I think he needs to be on a team like he was the assistant coach of, with Luka Doncic. Like, you need literal superstars on your basketball team. I'm not talking about potential superstars, Jalen Green, KPJ, Christian Wood. I'm talking about literal cemented superstars in the NBA. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Literal superstars that you can rely on. That's what I think Silas is more suited for. All these complicated sets that he runs, especially in the beginning part of this season, all of last season, I just don't see it working for us. I don't see it working for us long term. I think Mark Jackson would have been a hell of a good of a hire. We'll reevaluate once this season is over. Like I said, I wouldn't be too upset if Stephen Silas was the head coach next season. I wouldn't be that upset. But I don't think it's in their best interest. I really don't think it's in their best interest. I can understand that they want to give him another shot when it's kind of hard if the Rockets win less than 25 games this year, 17 last year. It's kind of like, well, why are you really giving him a shot? But with the whole James Harden being a bitch situation, I guess it makes a little bit of sense. A little bit. So I really think it's make or break with Silas right now. If he can play with Schroeder, if he can play with Wood, if he can play with JG, if he can play with KPJ, if he can turn this team around in the next half of the season, like we're anticipating, us Rocket fans, we're anticipating the Houston Rockets to have a very good second half. I'm talking like, maybe not 500, but I'm talking like, they should be close every game. I'm sick of giving up 140 points to the Fred VanVleet-less Toronto Raptors. No disrespect to the Toronto Raptors. Toronto runs 7-man rotations. They didn't have Fred last night. That means they ran a 6-man rotation. We're losing to that. It's just, even if you're not losing, you're giving up 140 points. I don't care if you're playing the Warriors. I don't care if you're playing the Bucks, if you're playing the Lakers. 140 points this many times in the season. Seems like there's some bigger issues. Seems like there's some bigger issues over there defensively with Houston. We'll see what happens though. I like Schroeder. I like Schroeder a lot. 6th man of the year type of guy, 20 point per game off of the bench. You never know. I think our bench could use an extra jolt like that. It does get me worried about like minutes with like Josh Christopher, Daishen Nix. Probably won't see the floor the rest of the season, but what are you gonna do? We're not the GMs. So I rated the Houston Rockets trade deadline at a D over on the main channel. If you want to go ahead and drop a comment on what you think the Houston Rockets grade should be down below. I like the idea of getting rid of Daniel Theis, and I like the idea of acquiring a player like Dennis Schroeder, but my issue was that they just stopped with that. Like, I literally do not care if you're getting Eric Gordon and you're not getting a single draft pick, trade Eric Gordon. If you're getting a 2nd round draft pick and a matching contract that is on an expiring deal, trade Eric Gordon. It's not that difficult. This man is 33 years old. He's making over $18 million, and I get that he wants to be a part of the Houston Rockets, but he is having one of the best seasons of his entire career. Trade him. You're not trading him in the offseason. You're not trading him before the draft. You're not trading him at the deadline next year. The ship sailed. So I hope you enjoyed it, Rafael Stone. I give him a D.